One of Kanto's finest, most skilled individuals. How about the other side of her? The voodoo-practicing ice witch that tried to end humanity. Lorelei is not the hero we first thought. In fact, she's quite the opposite. The name Lorelei can be linked to a captivating figure from German folklore, who's known for her enchanting presence and tragic allure. She's associated with a massive rock on the eastern bank of the Rhine River, an area famous for its treacherous waters where many ships have met their end. According to the legend, Lorelei is a stunning maiden who sits atop the rock, combing her long golden hair and singing a mesmerizing song. Her beauty and voice are so captivating that they distract sailors, causing them to crash their boats on the rocks below. It's a story of irresistible beauty leading to inevitable doom. Lorelei was born and raised on Four Island, one of the Sevi Islands in the Kanto region. She's a top 5 trainer in Kanto and the first to represent the region's elite as a member of the Elite Four. She is an ice-type specialist who embodies the serene beauty and chilling power of the frozen tundra. Her aces are Lapras and Jinx equally. Lorelei seems to be in her mid-20s. She has long, luscious red hair tied in a uniquely styled ponytail, which is complemented by her red eyes. She wears a somewhat tight pencil dress, slightly varying in color based on which version you look at. With her glasses and high heels, this gives her that naughty head teacher kind of image, but I must say, she's looking sexy as hell. Your first encounter with her will be the first battle in the Indigo Elite Four Challenge, and definitely one of the toughest yet. She's only present in the Kanto-based games, meaning Red, Blue, Green, Yellow, Fire Red, Leaf Green, and the Let's Go games. By the time you get to Johto, Lorelei has left completely, replaced by Will. Her room was initially like Misty's gym, having water be a part of it. Makes sense, as Lapras does best in the water and it is her ace. In Fire Red and Leaf Green, it had seemingly laminate flooring taking the place of the water, with the ice pillars on the center left and right sides, making a sort of path down the middle. The Let's Go games showcase a stunning room design, blending the classic Pokemon battlefield surrounded by icy looking tiles and the same 6 ice pillars as before. The air is even sparkling, as if it's cold enough to make your breath visible. She's also sitting upon her Lapras, awaiting challenges, which is a nice touch. It definitely suits the gravity of the battle ahead. Her team consists of Dugong, Cloyster, Jinx, Slowbro, and Lapras, all with varying levels around the 50s. Her team has a slight change in the Fire Red and Let's Go rematch, but I don't count rematches. They seem more like fan service. Outside of the Elite Four, you can also run into her on her home island, where Team Rocket are terrorizing Pokemon again, and you battle alongside her to fend off those pesky grunts. Only after this, you may rematch her, as she then returns to the Elite Four. It's speculated that after this attack, she felt the need to stay home to protect her local wild Pokemon, leading to her resignation of her Elite Four position. If you visit her home, you'll notice that she also loves stuffed dolls, as they're all over her room, a hobby that turns sinister in the manga. Lorelei is known as Prima in the anime, from Mandarin Island in Kanto, the main difference in appearance being her eye color, which is blue rather than red. The episode starts with Tracy reading a flyer to Ash and Misty that there's a Pokemon lecture and battle demonstration by Prima that's coming soon. Misty is in awe. She adores her as she's powerful while using Misty's favorite water types. She says Prima 5 times, and what do you know? Prima sneaks up on them, ignores everything they're saying completely because she's tunneled on Togepi's cuteness. She starts staring out to sea, saying the sun is her friend?
The sun feels like an old friend.
It does?
When Misty starts talking, she tells her to hush because the wind is speaking?
Shh, just listen. The wind is speaking.
Tracy and Misty are like, translation please, what is going on with this crazy lady? Meanwhile, good old Ash says, "Screw the wind and battle me right here, right now, in front of everybody."
Wind can wait! I want a Pokemon battle now!
He goes on about how he hasn't lost on this island yet, and he's fired up. She replies by talking about the beautiful ocean, the sun, and the sky, and just continuing to ignore him. Ash is like, damn, she's boring, and goes to find some random surfer dude to battle. During an even battle, Ash sends out Charizard, who of course does his own thing. The surfer dude lets his Tauros sit there and take Charizard's ass whooping before being like, "No way, I lost." Exactly like that.
Oh no! He beat me!
Charizard goes on a rampage after the battle, shooting fire everywhere and refusing to return to its Pokeball. Prima is disgusted by its disobedience. This is something that definitely caught her eye. She sends out the bro to finish the job. It uses Disable, which doesn't disable Charizard's moves, but literally disables it from doing anything. And Slowbro lowers it with its psychic powers to be returned by Ash. Prima throws some shade at Ash, saying a Pokemon is as good as its trainer.
A trainer is as good as his Pokemon.
Ash gets mad and shows off his standing of top 16 in the Indigo League to an Elite Four member. She's like, yeah, that's cute, and heads off to her class. Her demonstration turns out to be a big spanking on some noobs, and Ash suddenly feels stupid that he bragged about being top 16. She invites them over for tea, and she teaches Ash her secret. The secret is that she battles with the fierceness of ice and rests with the calmness of water.
When I'm not battling, I try to go with the flow. But as soon as a battle begins, I become as unforgiving as ice. Then I melt right back and flow on.
The biggest secret is knowing what your true strength is and utilizing it to maximum effectiveness. Ash challenges her to a battle, and she accepts. They go with Pikachu versus Cloyster. Cloyster showcases impenetrable defense, with Withdraw and Reflect blocking any damage. Soon after, she sparks out Pikachu with ease using Rage and a combination of Aurora Beam followed by Takedown. Yes, if you are counting, she used 5 freaking moves on one Pokemon. She gives him the talk that he'll succeed once he grows strong bonds with his Pokemon, and proves that he has the heart of a true trainer. Team Rocket show up and are like, lame speech, where can we hear the rest of it? And she responds that it's
Tape only! 1895.
That is quite pricey, I must say. The Pokemon anime never fails to make me chuckle. She later figures out they're bad and is like, screw these guys, and sends out Jinx. It's time for some more hacks. She uses some
Ice Beam attack!
multi-target Ice Beam Punch with the 100% freeze chance, and uses Blizzard to blow them back into space. In Pokemon Generations, she's seen meeting with other members of the Elite Four and discussing the new trainer that's on the way after collecting all the badges. That being Blue. She welcomes him to the League Challenge before getting swiftly beaten by his Alakazam, and then calls him lucky.
I will let you go on ahead. You won't be so lucky next time.
In the manga is where things get a little bit interesting. You see, the unique thing about the manga is that the champion doesn't need to beat the Elite Four. So them being stronger than the champion is a very valid argument. But who would stop her if she went rogue? In Pokemon Adventures, she's first seen watching Red and Blue battle for the championship, but there's something off about her. After a time skip, the Elite Four's true motives are revealed. Those motives being to eradicate the human race, so that just the Elite Four and Pokemon remain, which doesn't seem too sustainable if you ask me. In the rugged mountains of northwest Kanto, Bruno is deep in training when Lorelei drops by. She chuckles, calls him a gym bro, and suggests he take it easy for once or his brain will turn to muscle. Then she casually mentions that Red is the new champion and, oh, by the way, I sent him a challenge letter and signed it with your name, you meathead gym rat. We see the aftermath of the battle, where Pikachu is seen limping into Oak's lab, looking in life-threatening condition. Oak takes one look and figures out that Red got pummeled by Bruno. Meanwhile, Lorelei is later spotted chatting about the Pikachu that escaped the battle and hints that she might catch it soon. Lorelei shows up while Bill and Yellow are goofing off and suddenly attacks with her dugong, boasting that even the little champion couldn't handle the Elite Four. Bill's jaw drops as Lorelei flaunts her perfect, supple battle record and says she's there to nab that Pikachu, as it escaping will surely ruin her reputation. Bill's like, wait, you're part of the Elite Four? Yeah, Bill, well done. She gets juked by Yellow's Doduo and they vanish. Seriously now, Elite Four getting juked by a Doduo? Bill is shivering at the idea of the Elite Four going rogue, but actually he would be in danger even if someone like youngster Joey went rogue. Lorelei tracks them down again, this time using Dugong and Cloyster's combined Ice Spike cannon to fling deadly spikes their way. She dreams about crushing them in the chaos, but Pikachu zaps Cloyster, putting it in face-up defense mode. Lorelei, the Elite Four genius, demands to know something, which is pretty much summed up as, how did you figure out that one Pokemon is less of a threat than two? Yellow just goes, I'm Amarillo del Bosque Verde, I hope I said that properly, and vanishes. Turns out it was that easy. They wished, because Dugong is still on their case. It whips up its own ice rink and skates after them, showing off Lorelei's craftiness. She sarcastically thanks them for making her reveal all her tricks and unleashes her signature ice tsunami to trap them. Why is that not a move in the games yet? She demands to know how Yellow has such sharp intuition, hinting at psychic powers or maybe a sixth sense, until she's interrupted by superhero Rattata, who uses its Hyper Fang attack to free them, while Green's Horsey sneaks onto the scene and provides a timely distraction for their escape. After letting those twerps get away, Lorelei is seen on the phone with Agatha again, fuming about getting duped by the unexpected power of the young boy, who, spoilers, is actually a glamorous character that I'll do a video on soon. She describes Yellow's ability to share the heart and read the thoughts of Pokemon. A pretty impressive deduction amidst all the chaos. Lorelei worries that if Yellow's powers grow stronger, Yellow will be able to read Pikachu's thoughts more clearly and uncover the secrets of that mysterious Bruno versus Red battle. They flash back to Red and Bruno's initial fight, with Lorelei and Agatha watching from the shadows, and Lorelei thinks back to her origin story. She saw a sick seal suffering from industrial pollution from the power plant. Agatha swooped in, sucked the pollution out of Seal, therefore healing it, and persuaded Lorelei to join her in exacting revenge on humans for their sins. Bruno suddenly grabs his head in pain, while Lorelei and Agatha chuckle in the background. They declare that humans will never stop destroying Pokemon habitats, leading to their eventual extinction, and thus coexistence is impossible, except for the Elite Four as population moderators, of course. They reveal they called Red out because they need all the badges for their plan, and the elusive 8th badge is still missing, thanks to Giovanni. Red, being the last to obtain Giovanni's badge, is their target for this information. Red was unaware of Giovanni's whereabouts, but their second objective was to test his worth in battle with Bruno. He passed with flying colors, but rejects their offer for him to join them in creating a new world. Lorelei, disappointed, says she only asks once, and Red begins to doubt his decision. thinking he could have gained some intel from the inside if he had accepted. Then she starts beating Red to a pulp. Since he's outnumbered, there's nothing he can do. She then uses a voodoo doll made by Jinx to freeze Red in place and starts poking a Pikachu voodoo doll. They consider Red as good as gone and leave the rest to Bruno, who uses Hitmonlee to beat him up. As Red freezes, he yells for Pikachu to escape. After the flashback, a bit later on, the Team Rocket Triad show up, and the protagonists are exhausted by all the BS going on right now. They team up with the good guys as they have a common enemy in the Elite Four. Sabrina uses her Spoons of Destiny to group trainers together in a way that would give them the best chance of beating the Elite Four. Koga's paired with Blue, Sabrina with Green, and Lieutenant Surge doesn't seem to have a partner, which implies his partner may be missing. Sabrina and Green head off and find a badge in the cave lying on the floor, but realize it's a trick. And Lorelei comes out of the shadows. She explains her voodoo dolls are crafted by her Jinx and the terrible things she can inflict on them by using these dolls. Her favorite being an X, which is drawn on the dolls to create some ice cuffs on whichever human is bound to them. This adds an evilness to Jinx's character and highlights Lorelei's power as an Elite Four member. Sabrina and Green send out Venomoth and Nidorina, but Sabrina accidentally uses sleep powder on Nidorina. They do not have the best synergy with each other, so they start bickering and then scary voodoo Jinx attacks. Sabrina notices that Lorelei is only targeting Green. Suddenly, Lorelei pulls out Green's horsey, supposedly captured by her Slowbro from earlier, and waves it around, taunting her. Then Jinx pounds Green's head in. Realizing the urgency, Sabrina and Green argue less. Lorelei, in typical villain fashion, gives them the key to victory, reveals that they can only release their cuffs by stealing her dolls. Meanwhile, Venomoth keeps attacking Cloyster, who uses Withdraw. Lorelei is puzzled by Sabrina's seemingly brainless move to continuously attack Cloyster until she realizes that Cloyster fainted already because Sabrina had been commanding Venomoth to use an invisible Mega Drain attack to whittle down Cloyster's health all this time. Sabrina, Green, and Lorelei continue their battle. It comes down to Alakazam versus Slowbro. Alakazam uses Psychic, but it has zero effect because Slowbro's using Amnesia, which actually makes it forget the attack. Whether it still takes damage or just forgets it is unclear. Lorelei points out Slowbro's ability to see in 4 directions thanks to the shell on its tail. She then hints that being bitten on the head would make it as smart as Slowking. She teases Green about finding out, suggesting that she can switch between Slowbro and Slowking, which is a very interesting addition. Lorelei's Jinx then lovely kisses them off a cliff, which was not so lovely really. As they're hanging on, Lorelei tells Sabrina to ditch the deadweight Green. Sabrina surprisingly delivers an emotional speech about their promise to fight together and how, despite their past differences, they're now partners. Lorelei sarcastically applauds, saying, "Yeah, that's why Team Rocket failed. Great story," before Jinx bops them into the next dimension. Luckily, Blastoise saves them from hitting the ground by firing water at the floor to slow their fall. Lorelei says, "You know why I hate you, right, Green?" And she reveals that Green had been helping Yellow, which got in Lorelei's way earlier, and no one gets in her way, apparently. But Lorelei is curious to know why Green has been such a nuisance, and Green reveals that she's been on a journey for the past 2 years to find a Pokemon that abducted Green when she was younger and took her to a faraway land. Green learned earlier that Lance is planning to take control of a giant flying Pokemon, and she suspects this may be the one that she's looking for that abducted her, so she's curious to go and find out. And he may succeed as he's incredibly strong and has a special power to help him. She told all this to Lorelei as she's oozing with confidence, then sends out Clefable with a trick up her sleeve. Clefable uses Minimize, which actually minimizes them to ant size while big bodyguard Blastoise blast Jinx out of the way. This in turn splits the link between the voodoo dolls and breaks Green's arm right off. Lorelei is more pissed than ever, while Green says it was part of her plan, as she calls herself a deadweight and collapses. Turns out she's a ninja too, as this was all a distraction. Of course, it wasn't her real arm. It was a fake arm, while her real arm was hidden in her jacket. Lorelei's like, not bad for a kid. Meanwhile, she's getting strangled tighter and tighter by a Ditto. It was actually Ditto that was the fake arm that attached itself to Lorelei and started strangling her. She pours her feelings out, saying all of her work was for nothing and there won't be any Pokemon left one day, especially at this rate, like her poor Seal sob story. Green says, "We're not so different, you and I."
We're not so different, you and I.
Ditto then strangles Jinx and Lorelei unconscious. Green says, they'll wake up soon. Great job, Ditto. Now I'm gonna wake up Sabrina. Sabrina was not sleeping, so she did not take kindly to that, as it implied that she's useless. They have a cute little scene where Sabrina is angry that she was actually handcuffed to a Ditto and Green didn't tell her because she had her own tricky ideas. Green justifies herself with, "You need to fool your friends before your enemies, right? Please forgive me, you crazy beautiful psychic girl," which I don't think happened. But Sabrina is definitely softening up to her. I can't believe Lorelei got strangled by a Ditto to be defeated. Sabrina realized she got a little bit too mushy, so to retain her reputation, she says the job is done and reluctantly leaves. All in all, Lorelei was scarred from a young age. Her innocence and love of Pokemon was the key to fueling her hatred of humans. Seeing the creatures she loved on the brink of death must have been agonizing. Unfortunately, her hatred was capitalized on by Agatha, who knew exactly what she was doing. Otherwise, her manga counterpart could have been more akin to the games, where she's a role model rather than a villain, but who knows. Thanks everyone for watching, I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like for more. Also leave a comment about what you liked about this video and what you'd like to see next. Even though you might not see it, I am collecting ideas and working on them in the background to entertain you all. See you in the next one. Bye.